it, and they go home to their own yard, and they want to cultivate a little portion of their land, and they want to put it right in their soil. And I'm saying this because I did that with tomatoes, and I
Yeah.
never gave that a thought, and I could have
Right.
been contaminating myself, but the tomatoes were
They're
delicious.
delicious,
May I
yeah.
tell you this? They could have been full of lead, I don't know.
Well,
Is-
tomatoes are usually okay. So
Oh.
lead is a funny thing. I'll do a little brief lesson here, but lead is really, in most cases, the contamination is coming from contact with soil. So I use the example of carrots because it grows underground.
I
So the
see.
more it contacts soil, the higher your chances are that you're having some kind of a heavy metal contamination issue. The higher up from the ground plants grow, the less contact they're getting, but that also means you have to do a really conscientious job of covering exposed soil with mulch, which is where Tom's help is crucial. He brings us loads and loads of wood chips to cover those sites so that there's no exposed dirt anywhere, so there's no dust being kicked up when people are walking through there. It's all covered, so there's no dust coming up. All the soil in the beds is clean, fresh soil, so there's no lead or contamination in those beds, so you can grow carrots, you can grow tomatoes with no risk.
Is there a place anywhere that you can take some of your soil and have it tested to see if it's all right?
Yeah, the University of Massachusetts at Amherst has a really great soil lab. It's very inexpensive. You can test your backyard soil there. It's about $10. You send them a little baggie of dirt you collect in your yard, and they'll give you a full analysis of what your pH is, what your nutrient levels are, what your heavy metal levels are, and it's $10 in maybe 2 weeks turnaround.
So wonderful. And I want to tell you that you're bringing the country into the city. You're bringing the farm right into the city. That is so wonderful because it's just too bad we can't have cows, but that would have been okay. But, chickens. Well, chickens. But anyway, so I'm so glad that you got to meet each other. The residents, the neighbors in Centerville got to meet Mill City Grows, and somehow whatever progresses will be safe and healthy. And that's the goal of everybody. We allow you to do that, but we want you to be safe. And there are some guidelines. I didn't even really know that. My colleagues probably didn't. Do you have any more questions for this group?
Quickly, thank you.
Yes.
What's the timeline? What's your hope?
Well, through our conversation now, we will most likely looking at 2. When you look at phase 1, we were looking at 2 years for it anyway. But some of the guidelines, we thought we could dig down. We thought we could have a little bit of a raised bed and dig down. And through conversation, we're understanding that the city guidelines don't allow for that. So we're probably looking at a 2-year time frame for phase 1, just briefly in conversation that we just had. But we had 2 years in mind for phase 1 anyway, because we're starting from the ground up, and we know we have to do a lot of pretty heavy-duty learning curve. So, yes.
You have to start somewhere, and that's...
And as I said to Priscilla and Heidi earlier, we are on a 2-year cycle at Mill City Grows where every other year we're installing community gardens, and we'd be really happy to work with the Friends of the Reservoir to make this site one of our sites for 2015 and to assist with the fundraising and the coordination and management of it if they were interested in that. We also have another program that we do on the off years, which this is our off year where it's called Build a Garden, where we partner with organizations, a lot of schools like the Robinson School, and youth programs where we connect with these programs and understand how food and a garden would kind of factor into their existing programming, whether it's a cooking class or a science curriculum. And we work with them to create an on-site garden, so a school garden or an after-school garden. We're working with the Pawtucket Congregational Church to install a garden with them this spring. And so that would be another option, but again, that would be another 2 years out from this year. That would be 2016 that we would probably go through that cycle again. But that's more of like a consulting package where we help you to start a garden and then it's your garden and you can take it where you want to take it. Versus the community garden program is a more long-term relationship that we build with neighborhoods and with residents to create a garden that can really sustain into the future for many years, and building a lot of structures and systems so that gardeners can slowly take over the day-to-day oversight and coordination of those gardens.
That's wonderful. Yes, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Counselor. Just for my own clarity, they have a group here that's going to be developing the community garden, going through the plans and that process and having a site picked. And they're going to begin growing flowers and food and such.
Berries and vegetables.
Yeah. Now, so you've got it up and going now. Say and you're growing stuff, who's involved with that? Was it like a guy like me living in Belvedere? Can I go over there and say, listen, I'm Michael Gary, I want to be involved, and do I get a little plot of land in that community garden?
If there's
Okay.
space available.
If there's space
yeah.
available, so it's like a first come, first served kind of situation.
Through the application process on an annual basis. Yeah, because, and you can talk to the spaces you've got and the space availability, but yes, essentially, absolutely, it really is open to the city.
Yeah. Well, see, in the guidelines, there's certain guidelines that you have to adhere to, you know? And so once it gets going, how many plots do you think it can accommodate?
Well,
I mean, I guess that's the
we
question.
looked at the square footage and have started talking about it, and we believe we can get up to 60 beds in there.
Okay.
Over time, the first initial site plan includes 20. And if you look up at what we were talking about, row gardens, if we can't put row gardens in based on, the soil or whatever, that's kind of a quick explanation, then those would become additional beds, and you could probably put another 10. So you'd look at 30 beds initially,
Okay.
and then you go to 90.
Okay.
Just based on briefly looking at the 12,600 square feet we're talking about on the first site plan.
Yeah.
90 beds is huge, so,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know that that's manageable, so we would probably try to do it in what we're calling pods.
Okay.
So you may see the first pod, and then the second pod is set up to replicate the first. So there are three separate.
And each pod is each individual, so I have my own pod, I have to maintain my pod.
The
and then
volunteers,
then there's a
volunteers
group,
within that pod
like-
maintain.
Okay, and then there's a group that kind of maintains the whole
Exactly, there's a structure on
outer
top of
aspect
that.
of it. Okay,
And and it would be under the umbrella, so to speak,
so each pod, okay.
of Mill City
And then
Grows.
I just kind of, I want to grow whatever I grow, and I just get it, I grow it, and I take it.
Yeah, so we have, in our gardens, gardeners are completely responsible for maintaining their own plots. And whatever they grow in that plot, they take home, they share with their neighbors, they give
Okay.
away. A lot of our gardeners donate to food banks or food pantries, bring it to church. But that's totally up to them what they grow,
Yep.
how they want to grow it all, with some guidelines.
Whatever's
We have,
legal.
yeah, there's a couple things that we don't want growing in the gardens. And we definitely want people using the space effectively and efficiently. So if we find that a gardener, it's May 15th and they haven't planted anything, we're going to call up that gardener and say,
Okay.
you're late.
All right.
You've got a week to get your bed planted. If you don't plant
See,
it, then I'm
yeah,
going to
'cause
call the
it's
first guy on the wait
on the list,
list.
okay,
Because
all
I don't
right.
want that plot going to waste. It's a
Okay.
limited resource.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's the way we
Yeah,
manage it.
and I see, from the city's perspective, I think the guidelines, have been developed jointly between the city and people with a lot more knowledge than maybe some people in this building have. So I think it's important that they adhere to these guidelines, and I don't have a question that they will. And there's a couple of obligations on our part that I think the city will fulfill in terms of inspections and the water supply, as they mentioned, is that still a vibrant supply and it's still operating? And so, follow the guidelines and sign the release form, and everything should run smoothly.
Yeah. So,
Say that
a lot of
the
work,
water-
but they're
The
gonna do
water
it.
supply piece is interesting because there's an existing reservoir that is right there.
Yeah.
And it itself, just environmentally, provides an environment of water for all the flower gardens we've got up there. If you start working there, you see that there's some natural stuff that happens
Yeah.
that makes it unique to that site. So,
And,
That's
that
wonderful.
reservoir is just an aesthetic site now anyway. It's not an operating use to the city, I don't believe anymore with the tower up there, so.
Michael,
Yeah, Mike Harrington. I just want
you,
to,
I don't know if we're on TV, but you can get onto the,
didn't want to, but okay.
Yeah.
Mike Harrington, Christian Street, Lowell. Just want to follow up on something that Priscilla said. She had mentioned up to like 90 beds. Even at that amount, you barely make a dent in that section of the reservoir. I mean, it's not like you're going to cover the whole section of Christian Reservoir Street. You're taking a very small amount of space. So for future expansion, it would definitely be there. Just because the number is at 90, it's very small. It's like, if you figured that this room right here was the reservoir, that table might cover about the 90 beds.
Well, I'm telling you, it's a good use of the land.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. Marie, did you want to say anything? Very good. Yes, Councilor Leahy.
I just had a question about the guideline, about, what were you saying, you can't dig into any soil, that's just a precautionary? Do we ever test it to see if some sites are better and allow you to dig into the ground to speed up the process, or is it just not a good idea to even go there, or?
Yeah, the straightforward policy is, I think it's a 3-tier hike, is it not?
We do 2 feet and 3 feet for handicap accessible.
I was about to say that, having it elevated, handicap accessibility, plus you don't have to get down on your hands and knees, you can just bend over.
Yeah,
Has a lot of advantages to it, and obviously we know it's safe.
okay. All right.
We've
No, it sounds
worked,
good.
we've tried to work around the rules in certain circumstances to, plant an orchard or something where growing in raised box beds is not really, cost-effective or very efficient. But the city, from what we've understood through the DPD and the environmental officer over there, is that any testing of soil on the city's behalf could lead to a large remediation project. So we treat every site as if it had contaminated soil,
Yep.
and we go through every mitigation strategy to protect. And we do a primary review of the past uses of the plots. So if we know that it has been something heavy industrial, we wouldn't
Okay.
move forward
No,
with the
it's good
garden
that
site
you
for that.
mentioned
But if it was just a building lot or, a park or something with regular residential use, we can safely believe that, okay, maybe there's some lead, maybe there's some heavy metal contamination, but we're not gonna be digging up any kind of, PCBs or
Yep.
organic compounds there.
Thank you.
Is there any more comments at all? Any more work to uncover here? Any more plans?
No.
Well, I want to say I wish you the best of luck. My colleagues on the council, we wish you the best of luck. We'll probably take a ride up there and see what's going on. That'll be fun. That's going to be wonderful. You'll enjoy some great things there, whether it be flowers or vegetables or whatever. That's wonderful. I wish you the best of luck.
Just for my edification, what happens from our meeting, so we understand the approval process?
Well, first off, Heidi Miller, on behalf of the Friends of the Reservoir, knew your idea, presented it to me. I made a motion, put it on the agenda. My colleagues unanimously supported it. From there, it goes to the subcommittee, which it does, and then it goes to the Board of Parks. But knowing that it was such a great idea, the Board of Parks only meets once a month, and in an effort to speed this process up, Tom Bellegarde represented all of us at the last Wednesday of the month that just passed by, and the Board of, because the Board of Parks supersedes anything that we do. We could have all agreed with this, but if the Board of Parks said, no, you can't do it, I'm sorry, that would have been the final answer. But they said yes, and so we're all set.
Thank
You
you.
may begin.
Thank you.
There's nothing more you have to do but fundraise and go to town.
And grow
Do what you
veggies.
and there you go, and I wish you the best of luck. Yes, Marie?
In September, we'll invite you for salad.
You're too funny. Oh, my goodness. So
right.
that's wonderful. So you don't need to see us anymore unless you want to call any of us and you need help and you need something. I would suggest, I don't know how good it is, but if I were you, I would go to Home Depot and ask, is there any way that they could help us in any way? Home Depot delivered a lot of supplies to that site that before you came on Middlesex Street across from the shelter. There was a team there from Home Depot that gave some supplies and things. Maybe they might be generous to write it off as a tax a credit to be helping someone, yes.
Just quickly, and I don't have the answer, that's why I'm probably asking the question, is just procedurally, I don't know if the vote of the council is necessary because it's a use of city land. I don't think it's going to be an issue, but I just want to understand that we may have to just have a vote on it.
There is,
The other community gardens, have they, Tom, have
I
they,
I
There-
think if the subcommittee, once the
Well,
subcommittee talks about
the
this,
subcommittee, I'm gonna give a report of progress on April 1st. Motion to accept the report as a report of progress, and they'll either say yes, they do, or they don't, so I'm sure they will.
there is a formal application process that you have to submit to the DPD, which I think I gave to Heidi.
Yeah.
It's a pretty simple application, but it does put into motion a license agreement
Yeah.
between the city and the
Okay.
organizing group that makes it a legal and, a legal agreement that that site is now
And
licensed
I
for
could
use.
also say at the subcommittee meeting, as part of my report of progress, to refer this report to the city solicitor to draw up the proper vote.
Yeah.
And that's,
proper vote and license agreement,
Right.
yeah. I think that'll be the.
yeah, that's all right.
the
That'll
route to
be
go.
what we'll do then.
Yeah.
You're not a lawyer for nothing there, city
I
manager.
was a lawyer for nothing.
Yeah. We'll do it right. We won't leave any stone unturned, okay?
All right.
All right, thank you very much.
You making that motion?
I'm gonna make that into a motion, yes.
Do we have a second?
Second, yes.
Either one.
We could have a third. So if there's no further business, motion to adjourn. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good luck to you.
yep. Just, let's see.
Because I really need those hay bales.
Well. Good number. I'll make it good in a minute. I know it's 888, right?
No, 866,
Oh, 866, okay.
866, 1789.
My pleasure. My pleasure.